A long time ago, our grandparents watched as the first astronauts walked on the moon. It was a huge moment for America and for the whole world. For many years after that, space missions focused on other things, like sending robots to Mars or building the International Space Station. But now, something exciting is happening again. Countries are looking back at the moon, and a new kind of space race has begun. This time, it's not just about planting a flag. It's about building a future in space, and the United States is racing against other countries, especially China, to get there. This new race is important for many reasons. The moon has resources, like water ice, that could be used to make rocket fuel. Being able to refuel in space would make it much easier and cheaper to travel to other planets like Mars. The country that learns how to use these resources first will have a big advantage. They could set the rules for how the moon is used in the future. This is why nations are working so hard to develop the technology to send people back to the lunar surface. It's a competition to see who will lead the next chapter of space exploration. The United States has a plan called the Artemis program. The goal of Artemis is to land the first woman and the next man on the moon. NASA has been working on a giant new rocket and a special spacecraft to make this happen. However, there have been some delays, and building new space technology is very hard. At the same time, China has its own ambitious lunar program. They have already sent robotic missions to the far side of the moon and plan to send their own astronauts, called taikonauts, by the year 2030. This friendly competition is pushing both countries to innovate and dream bigger. The big question everyone is asking is, who will get there first? Experts are watching closely because the winner of this race could influence space exploration for decades. It is not just a matter of national pride. The first country to establish a long-term presence on the moon could decide where other countries are allowed to go and what activities are permitted. This makes the return to the moon a very important event for the entire planet, as it will shape our shared future beyond Earth and set the stage for humanity's expansion into the solar system. When we talk about going to the moon, we need to think about the journey, not just the destination. The huge area of space between our planet and the moon is called cislunar space. The word cis means on this side of, so it literally means the space on our side of the moon. This region is enormous, much bigger than the space near Earth where most of our satellites orbit. It's a quiet and mostly empty place, but it is becoming much more important. As more countries send missions to the moon, cislunar space will become a busy highway for spacecraft. Keeping an eye on this vast area is very important for safety. Imagine a busy road with no traffic lights or police officers. That's what cislunar space could become if we don't have a way to track all the objects moving through it. The United States military wants to know where every spacecraft is, whether it belongs to the US, another country, or a private company. This is called space situational awareness. It helps prevent accidents, like two spacecraft crashing into each other, and it also helps them watch for any potential threats or unusual activity far from Earth. The problem is that our current tracking systems were not built to see that far. Most of our space-watching tools, like powerful radars and telescopes on the ground, are designed to watch objects in orbits close to Earth. They are very good at tracking satellites in low Earth orbit, just a few hundred miles up, or in geosynchronous orbit, about 22,000 miles away. But the moon is about 239,000 miles away. Trying to use our current systems to watch cislunar space is like trying to read a license plate from miles away with a pair of regular binoculars. This creates a big blind spot for the United States. As China and other nations launch their own lunar missions, the US military has very limited ability to see what those spacecraft are doing once they travel beyond the reach of our traditional sensors. Are they going to the planned landing spot? Are they deploying smaller satellites? Without a good way to watch this area, it is impossible to know for sure. This is why the military is working hard to find new ways to light up this dark and distant part of space and make sure we know what is happening there. To solve the problem of not being able to see into cislunar space, the United States is developing amazing new technology. Think of it like getting a much stronger pair of glasses to see things that are very far away. One of the most important projects is run by a special government group called DARPA, which stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. DARPA is famous for inventing futuristic technologies, like the internet and GPS. Their new program is designed to find and track objects at incredible distances, deep in the space between Earth and the Moon. This program is creating special software that can be loaded onto cameras on satellites. This software is smart enough to spot very faint objects that are hard to see. It works by taking many pictures of the same patch of sky and looking for tiny points of light that are moving. By analyzing the movement over time, the system can figure out if it's looking at a distant spacecraft or just a random flash of light. The goal is to detect objects as small as a shoebox from over 100,000 miles away. This would give the US military an early warning if any object, friendly or not, is heading toward the moon. The plan is not just to have better software, but also to put our eyes in better places. The military wants to place new sensor satellites in special spots in space called Lagrange points. These are unique locations where the gravity from the Earth and the Sun, or the Earth and the Moon, balance each other out. A spacecraft placed at a Lagrange point can stay there with very little effort, kind of like a boat anchored in a calm harbor. From these stable points, a satellite can have a constant, uninterrupted view of the entire path between the Earth and the Moon, watching everything that travels along it. Other parts of the US military, like the Space Force, are also building new tools for this mission. They are testing new types of engines for satellites that will be sent into cislunar space. These engines are very efficient and will allow the satellites to move around and adjust their orbits to get the best view. All of these different projects are coming together to create a network of sensors that will act as a neighborhood watch for the Earth-Moon system. This will close the current surveillance gap and make sure we are never blind to what is happening in this critical region of space. The new space race to the moon is about more than just competition between the United States and China. The outcome will affect everyone on Earth. The country that gets to the moon and establishes a presence first could have a big say in writing the rules for the future. Imagine if one country controlled access to the moon's most valuable resources, like the water ice hidden in dark craters at the poles. They could decide who gets to use that water to make rocket fuel, giving them control over the future of travel throughout the solar system. This is a big reason why being first is seen as so important. Losing this race could have major consequences. If another country sets up a base and declares certain areas of the moon as off-limits, it could prevent scientific discovery for everyone else. Scientists from all over the world want to study the moon to learn more about the history of our solar system. If access is restricted, we could lose the chance to answer some of the biggest questions about where we come from. It could also impact our economy and security back on Earth. A nation that dominates space could gain technological and economic advantages that would change the balance of power globally. This is why tracking objects in cislunar space is so vital. It's not about starting a conflict. It's about ensuring that space remains safe, open, and peaceful for all nations to explore. By having a clear picture of who is doing what near the moon, the United States can help make sure that everyone follows the rules and acts responsibly. It helps build trust and transparency. When every country knows that they are being watched, they are more likely to cooperate and avoid actions that could be seen as aggressive. This security is the foundation for peaceful international teamwork in space. Ultimately, the goal is a future where many countries can work together on the moon and beyond. The technology being built to watch cislunar space is a step toward making that future a reality. It ensures that this new frontier is explored for the benefit of all humanity, not just one nation. Just like the oceans on Earth, space is a global resource that we must learn to share. By keeping a watchful eye on this new territory, we can protect it for future generations and open up a new era of discovery and cooperation far from our home planet.